Hi there, welcome to Adam Rambles. Today we're going to talk about what you can learn from someone who is disabled or having some mobility issues. Older people who are kind of stuck, and how you can apply that to your life and maybe not end up in the exact same place that they are. Now, obviously, there are some circumstances which you can't change. If you're injured or whatever. I saw a guy at a building that I was at today, young guy living basically the life that thousands, well, millions, really, hundreds of millions of older folks are living, where he's disabled and lives in essentially senior housing, probably subsidized housing situation where he, I don't know his story, but likely through no fault of his own, he doesn't have any options, financial or mobility wise. So he needs to be in a place where people can keep an eye on him, help him out. And his financial situation will not change, and his physical situation is likely to only get worse. And if you put yourself there, and then think about regrets maybe that you might have had, or that those people might have, or things, I wish I would have, kind of things. You can work your way back to wherever you are now and sort of say, if I don't want to end up there, what choices do I need to make to end up somewhere else? And again, I'm not making like a moral judgment on these people or anything. It's where tons and tons of people end up. But you aren't at the end of the road. Maybe you are, but you're not in that situation where you're stuck in that situation. I'm assuming that you're away from that. If it's a year or two away from that, or if it's a decade or two away from that, it doesn't matter. You can look at the situation, you can look at the decisions that they made that led them to that place, and make different ones to lead you to a different place. Put another way, I was driving the other day, and there's construction going on at my house, at the park by my house, and that as I'm trying to turn, there's a guy like out in the middle of the road. He's got his orange jumper thing on, and he's lifting up like a heavy thing from the middle of the road. I don't know, it's something, I think it's something to do with the electrical, but it doesn't matter. He's working, right? And I look at that guy, and he's doing a good job. He's working hard. He's taking care of his family. He's making money. And then I turn the corner, I drive down, and I see this other guy, this older guy, and he's doing like the surveying. He's got the little tripod thing, and he's checking it out. And there's another older guy that's sort of supervising all the work that's being done. And the thought hits me, and it's something I've seen a lot, is that you need to look at the road that you're on, and then fast forward to the end of that road and see, where's that road taking me, and is that somewhere that I want to be? And it's perfectly, it's not my judgment call, it's yours. This construction guy, he's doing this work, and if he continues to do this work, he's going to, when he's the age of the other guy, essentially become that other guy, where he's the surveyor or he's the supervisor of the same type of job that he's doing. Now, if that's work that you love doing, that's a great place to be. If that's work that you hate doing, you need to find another path. And this was something I experienced when I was maybe 18. I just graduated from high school, and I took a job. It was actually with my brother. I was doing random like temp work, so I was jumping around, but I ended up at the place where my brother was working. He's a few years older than me, and he was supporting his family. He was doing slurry welding for pipes, and I meet all the guys there, and I was really curious. I was asking tons of questions, and so it didn't matter who. I didn't really get that not all adults have good advice yet. That's something I'm still realizing today. But I talked with this guy, really every guy there, and I sort of saw their past, like, hey, how did you get this job? What were you doing before? What do you plan on doing into the future? And there was this core group of guys that there was a broken past and there was no future. Essentially, they were living for the weekend. They would get drunk. They would come in late or hammered on Monday. They would make it through their work week, and that was life. And I looked at them, and I could see, because you could see different ages of guys, and I'm like, that guy is going to end up there. No better off, still doing the same weekend garbage. And his life, he was on a path that I didn't want. There was one guy that was different. And I went and I talked with him. I told him so. I said, hey, you seem different. What's going on? And he goes, don't tell anybody, but I've been doing night school for the past 3 years, and I'm about to graduate. And at the end of next semester, I'm going to graduate, and I'm going to quit this job, and I'm going to do this completely different career. And so he had seen it just the same way that I was beginning to experience it. He had a better knowledge, a deeper knowledge of it, that the path that he was on didn't lead to where he wanted to be. And so he decided to get off that track and get on a different one. We're going to take a different train to a different destination. Same thing. My brother did the exact same thing. He could see his boss was, maybe 5 or 10 years older than him, and his boss's boss was, going to retire in 10, 15 years. So the highest he would go is to his boss's position, and then it would take decades for him to go to the next position, to a job that he didn't really even want. And so don't be trapped. Again, to go back to these patients and people that are in a sort of fixed situation, they don't have a whole lot of choice anymore, but you do. And so wild energy right now. Like, I think it's a Patton quote. A good plan violently executed beats a perfect plan tomorrow. A good plan violently executed today beats a perfect plan tomorrow. So look at the path you're on, figure out which path you want to be on, and violently execute that plan. Carpe diem, seize the day, do it now, get it done. So that's kind of my advice for the day. I'm going to try to take it myself. I also saw kind of a piece of that where I saw people that were somewhat mentors to me, and I saw the path that they were on, and I realized it's not what I want for my future. And it was a good realization moment, and it's maybe a story for another day, but then you need to figure out what path, and that can be hard. It's like you're back in high school again. It's like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Kind of thing. Figure it out. Even if it's not perfect, you're running a better path than the one you're on. Even if it's not going to be the permanent path that you're on, you're going to make good progress, and you're going to learn stuff that's going to lead you to another path that can lead you to another path that can lead you to where you want to be. But there's sort of this idea that you need to be you don't need to be stagnant. You need to be constantly a little uncomfortable with where you are. If you're completely unhappy with where you're at, then you're unhappy. So there's sort of just I don't have the words for it. It's a completely different thought, but like you have to be never content, I think is the right word. You're deliberately making choices on where you want to be, and you're not unhappy with where you are in that process. I think you need to enjoy the journey as well, but you're never content. It's kind of like, to take a sports analogy, like if you just won the championship, that's great, celebrate that, enjoy that, but you're also not content with just one championship. Let's go get another one next year, Or if you got second place, hey, that's really good, but I'm not going to be content. I'm happy with the accomplishment of getting there, but I'm not content. I'm gonna keep working. So there's a fine line to balance there too. So anyway, catch you next time. Love to know in your comments what changes you're going to make. What are you going to do differently? How are you going to violently, not like actual violence, I mean, this was a war general, but in your life with that much energy, how are you going to violently accomplish your next goal? What goal is that? So let me know. See you next time on Adam Rambles. Thanks.